Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is, uh, I guess, what you would call the Paradigm Shift podcast. More focused on the microphone now instead of the camera angle that I normally have. For a lot of you, you don't know me. And I'm sure it's pretty weird that, like, some weird podcaster guy thingamajig is like explaining why a podcast, because everybody podcasts. But for me, honestly, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. um, no, we're gonna roll up. We're gonna smoke. We're gonna talk. I feel like I'm getting old. I feel like a lot of what I'm doing now is being judged by like. I feel like a lot of what I'm doing is being judged by people and time itself. And it's like I'm hip with the language, and all my students like me. I'm a teacher. This is why I said origins, I'm a teacher, so maybe that's kept me a little bit more in loop with maybe that's kept me a little bit more in the loop with what the jive they be talking now. But like I have the ability to, take something old and like still make it fresh and, valuable. Cause that's what a lot of kids oops. That's what a lot of kids nowadays they want is a lot of stability. They want, concrete reasons why they should give a fuck. And to me, as I was growing up, I realized that like a lot of the life lessons that I learned, didn't come from family. I'm so sorry if the grinder is in the audio. I won't know till I get there though. But yeah, like I I fathomed that like the world just sapped out a lot of places where people could learn lessons about like who they were, who they are, and the overwhelming perspective on like why we feel the way we feel when it comes down to the wire on certain topics, certain issues. I watch a lot of I watch a lot of drama unfold on Twitter a lot. X, if that's what we're calling it. And I noticed that a lot of it stems down from like not only the bots that be egging on these conversations, but a lot of it comes from a lot of it comes from the angst of not being able to reach out to somebody. It's like, oh, you have this big audience and I have this big audience. So if you were to say something about me publicly, I have to publicly respond. And then it's like, it's a big it's a big kerfuckle. Confuckle. That's a new word that I think I'm going to start coining as of late. And as I was growing up, a lot of the lessons that I learned didn't come from family. They came from mentors. They came from brothers. They came from, people around the neighborhood. People that I always had an understanding with about what my goals were and what I hope to achieve. And what made me understand just a little bit more how valuable that was when I was confronted with like this world, the online world. People say they have a million and one experiences, a million and one perspectives on the internet world. Let me share with you the universal one. The shit sucks, okay? The shit sucks. And it doesn't suck because it does. It sucks because it's the one place where like a lot of people do have power with their words and they recognize that way too late. There are a lot of things that we could have advocated for on these platforms. We could have taken control of these platforms, boycotts, whatever. But like nobody wants to put in the effort anymore. And when I say nobody, I mean nobody of notable. Because everybody gets applauded on the back for the least amount of work in these situations. I talk politics on my original broadcast. I did talk politics, and I recognize that like no matter what I was doing, no matter how much I tried to inject like a real world philosophical need and want a pathos into the kind of conversations that people were having, it didn't matter. As our good friend Loaded Lux once said, nobody trying to hear that bullshit, Sharif. And on some G shit, I understand that. I understand that. Anyway, my fucking cat got out of, whatever. You can't see my face. Like that. Like I made content where I had my face in it all the time and I had to worry about my expressions and what I was showing on screen and making sure it was compelling. And I put so much artistry and so much work into it. And some things aren't meant to work out. But when you're compared to the thing that you're doing better that's working out, it's like, so what's the difference between me and that guy? And it generally becomes an issue of skin color. And I know, the algorithms, the this, the that. If people can make it, so can you. But yeah, you need that shout out on a site like Twitch. You need that shout out on a podcast. And I learned these lessons early in life that shit really doesn't matter. I should be happy and proud that I've made something. And that's what I feel like a lot of us miss in our day to day lives, the completion of a task. Not, I took out the trash. Not, I finished a puzzle. Not, I read a book. But like, I don't know, honey. I was just feeling it one day. So I sat up and I wrote an essay. And there's no need for you to ever compile thoughts like that into the ether of your mind ever again. We'd be 45 talking about term limits. Sorry, term paper limits. Term paper limits. It's so funny to me that a lot of the risk and reward that people feel when dealing with situations like this is just simply that, a fear of the unknown that stops people from creating. Because yo, what if it do blow up? What if I go in the studio, I drop this and this shit do go? I got two kids, I can't just have a music career. The advent of capital, so representation gets lost. Now you've got one person who stands amongst the rest in a crowd talking politics. Who's gonna be the second? Who gives a shit? If you ain't first, you're last. And that's what makes me feel old. That constant spin between knowing that, like, you do produce above average quality art, but, like, you don't have what it takes to make it something special. Oh, but didn't you just say that we should be happy that we made it? Yeah, that's a good general overview. For the specifics, for the maestros, oh man. Especially when you've had a taste of it before, when you've already been up there and then you come back down. Oh, man. Shit is a killer, let me tell you. So I was sitting here during my broadcast today and I recognized I gotta stop with the verbs. People say I use too many verbs, and then I noticed, and then I recognized, and then I saw, and then I typed. Yo, I was like looking at my audience and I recognized like, yo, there's like 5 people in here chatting and maybe like double that lurking. And I was like, this is beautiful for like just starting out 3 weeks in, but you're 3 years in. You've made several hundreds of gigabytes worth of assets, music, like chain effects, all this and that, downloaded, lost mad data, done this, done that. You've done all of that. You've done all of that. And the best you could muster up is like the 1%. And I was like, well, of course, 3 years, 27, 30. Oh shit. That was 3 years of my life. Where's my short films? Where's my career? Where's that live action manga I've been promising people? I don't commit. Because when I commit, I get let down. It's better to just do it myself, you know? And this is now we're talking personal, you know. And this is why like I never wanted to do like a solo podcast. Nobody to riff off of. And then you're listening to this in your car and you're like, oh, he's going into that thing again where I have to think about myself. Origins. Now, as I sit around and start, you know, building towards, I hope, a grand crescendo, it's like I've got to really think, yo, do I want to, how old am I going to be when I say it's time to get that job? How old am I going to be when I don't give up on this and it blows up and I'm a millionaire and I'm making the moves that I said I was going to make? Does it matter if it happens at 50? Does it matter if it happens at 40? Does it matter if it would have happened at 20? These are the questions I ask. These are the legitimate quandaries every time I press for my broadcast to go live. And I don't share this with my audience because I feel like what they end up doing is they internalize the guilt of it not being big enough. Which is, to be honest, within their respects and within their rights. That's totally understandable. But like, then there's no way to be real with the audience that you got. Cause they always gonna be expecting you to like pull yourself up out the mud. You feel me? They gonna know. They're gonna know. They're gonna know. They are going to know what you are feeling because one day somebody's gonna look at you and say, yo, your eyes are really red, bro. Your eyes are really red, ma'am. Yo, Jeremy. Yo, Russell. Yo. You look like you slurring your speech. Are you okay? And how do you tell him, yo, I'm just tired? Yo, I'm just tired. Yo, I'm just tired. I remember listening to podcasts where I would get lost in the sound of just what was going on, like I was there. And I feel like now that I'm on the other side of that, when I bridge that gap closer, I don't want it to be on some bullshit. You feel me? Like people are going to invest their time into listening to this. So I know I wouldn't want somebody who just started out to try to hotshot themselves to a position they couldn't handle. You know, what is your political leaning? What is your background? What art do you make? How do you feel when you represent this? Like, blah, blah, blah. Because I know that side of that industry, I over prepare to walk into this journey because it's like I'm 30, but I really got the experience of like a 45-year-old. I'm tired. And then I ended up making a podcast. And then I ended up making a podcast. It's like I've been in every facet. I've been in every facet of society. I've been in every volume that could possibly be a volume. I've shaken hands with some of the most important people in the country, let alone the world. And like all I ever wanted was to take those experiences and be like, hey, so I deserve to be here. And now I know that my next goal in mind has to be to bring other people in here because I know what it took for me to get here. And now that time has passed. Like time goes where time goes, you know? Hey man, I know you got two kids. I'm so proud of you for raising them to high school age. Not like I didn't think you could do it, but you know, shit happens, right? Anyway, I'm just calling you to let you know that like I remember you used to do music. I don't know if you still have a passion for it. I've been seeing a couple of your videos, so I'm hoping this call is in the right place. I was wondering if you'd be interested in coming down to Atlantic Records, maybe making like a quick band. They need a little bit of local talent, and I thought about you. Oh, dude, that's great. You know, that could really help pay the. Oh, that got them in the door. That got them in the door. I hyper analyze every single interaction I have because it's like if you gonna be put on this earth, you should at least know what your effect is, your net get like what do you provide? What do you bring to the table? Some might say, what do you bring to the table? And I like to believe that I bring a lot to the table. A lot in the creativity, a lot in the love department, a lot in the, you know, you'll never get bored. I don't do the same things every day, and I'm good or at least decent at a lot of things. Shit, tech repair, painting. Let's make a day of it. Let's draw, make art, make music. Let's go to Photoshop and do generative AI and smoke a lot of weed until we both pass out. So it just begs the question like, did I come too soon? Oh, they're gonna clip the hell out of that on podcast land. That's raw audio too. And I start to ask myself, like, yo, what happens if you're just early? What happens if it's just not your time? What happens if it's just not your place? What happens if it's just not your world? And it scares me. It scares me because there are people in my corner that say they're great, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. But like the goal needs to get wider because the effect of what I can do will hit harder. If I launch into this anime series and only six motherfuckers have even heard of me, when I'm 50, it blows up. Hey, you made this so many years ago. Why'd you stop? Now I have to sound bitter because people didn't care about it back then. That's the actual answer. That's the reflection of the fear that I have, is that as being a cornerstone of what I don't know, what I don't see, what we don't know. Us with our spouses, what will 10 years look like for the country? What if this robber baron DeSantis finds a way? What if any Republican finds a way? Let's be like, I don't care, put up anybody. Literally, Joe Biden passed away. Put up literally anybody. Everything has to be perfect. Everybody has to love it. Because I'm working on borrowed time. I can't be here slacking. That's why I put so much effort into it, to solidify why I'm doing it in the first place, because I'm good at it. Is that you've always got things to learn. Yeah, but like I go to the advanced section of any tutorial immediately. Any tutorial about anything. I learned about AC conducting last week. I was doing some like weird Wikipedia search thing with my girlfriend, and oh shit. Oh fuck me, mate. And I forgot what led us there, but then I started bringing up that I used to play Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Great fucking game. Great fucking game. And I remember the Morse code section. And she had mentioned something about like learning AC power units, voltage, could like how all that shit works for HVAC stuff. So we started looking this shit up. And like I started taking practice tests and learning like some book stuff. Found some quick guides that were just like, in the world of AC, things are like literal. Don't overextend yourself. Make it easy and simple. But I passed an exam. So why don't you go into HVAC? I don't wanna. I don't wanna. You can't make me. But like I'm able to do this off the top of my head forever. People die for a talent like that. People kill for a talent like that. Battle rappers go insane for a talent like that. And it's super overwhelming sometimes. It's super overwhelming. Watching that people just separation of powers. Nobody gives a shit. We're all talking about this, that, and the other. And I'm telling you, when you walk home from work, when you get off that train, that cold weather don't feel the same. You're not walking out there for the same purposes. And that is a scary fucking concept. Because it really calls into question, like, why do you enjoy the light on the porch? Maybe why are you doing any of this? And now a lot of you listening are gonna be like, because I love it. And that should be your answer. This is not a doomer pill thing. Like there are answers to the question of why we do things. Never think that it's empty or open-handed. Sorry, don't ever. Yeah, open-handed. Yeah, Don't ever think it's open handed when I say these things. What I'm referring to is my own thought process because it's like I've hit a wall of sorts in what I can do with given budgets, time, and time constraints. I could make a really dope film if I had 3 days to just shoot, edit, direct, storyboard, all of that. And most people be like, "Well, you're a Twitch streamer. You can pick your days and do whatever." And it's like, yeah, but then I miss out on the possibility of money. But then I do the stream and then I don't make any money, so it like doubles back on me as a like I might have made a lot of people happy for a couple of minutes, but like for a couple of hours. But damn, like if I'm gonna do that, then I gotta do that full time. I gotta put my energy into that. So I have less energy to sit there and edit afterwards. I have less energy to sit there and think about creativity like that. And then my girlfriend comes home, and of course I want to spend time with her because I haven't seen her all day. I've been working all day. I teach classes 2 times a week. It's like I'm not overwhelmed. I'm underfunded. If I could do what I was doing right now and not have to worry about like anybody or anything else, and I just knew like buying buying if I just knew like buying sneakers wouldn't hurt so much, you know? Like I want to surprise my girl for Christmas with like at least a couple nice, well thought out gifts, and I knocked it out the fucking park last couple of Christmases. Probably can't do that this one. And it's not even like I'm down. It's not even like I'm down. I'm up, but it ain't worth it. But it ain't worth it. But it ain't worth it. And that's what I be trying to tell people. Is like, I know what worth actions are. Everybody has the ability to, if given the circumstances, become a streamer and own a stream deck. But you know that there's a skill level to being able to flip the profiles on here to literally run your entire computer from the stream deck. It can be done, but it's not a necessary component. But if somebody who don't know how to do that starts making tutorials and then I start making tutorials, of course I'm going to go a step ahead because like all the people that already covered the basics, that don't pop off because the people who already learned the basics figured out the advanced stuff on their own. Play your market. Know your CRM. You gotta do stuff if you're gonna make it work. You can't just upload videos, have good content. Or I say you can't just upload videos, think it's good, and then be mad when you're not getting reception. But it's like that's never been my issue personally, because I know why I do this. To relate it back to what we were just talking about, that's why I went there with it. I know why I like the look of a porch light. I know why I want quiet in the morning, except for the pot. I want a coffee pot running. I like coffee. I'm okay with getting one that's automatic, but I can't afford that now. If I got it, where would I put it? 30. I want the answers to these questions. Why do I want that before 40? Those are the pit holes that I've fallen through. A lot of y'all listening to this right now, because I know banger ass podcast. I know a lot of y'all listening to this have already solved a lot of these questions for yourself. That's a good thing. But just letting you know, us down here, us in the 30s and 20s, are flailing our wrists, not understanding what's going on. And it's getting a little pleasurable for us, you know? I don't pretend to like feel like I'm not a person when I do these things. I've always felt like the genuine way to connect with an audience is to just be yourself. Because if you are meant for show business, they will feel that. And everywhere I go, that's the sentiment. Yo, you really dope. Bro, how have I never heard of you? I'll invite like one new person to a show each time and they'll be like, yo, that's dope. And I'm like, all right, so let's invite 10 next time. Yo, I got work. And I'd be like, no, real shit, so do I. And maybe that's it. Like, I don't pressure people. Yo, like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come to the show, come to the show. Cause it's like, I don't want somebody up in my inbox, come to my show, come to my show. So how do you reach the new kids? You can't talk to them directly because that's fucking weird. Shout out Drake. But at the same time, like, yo, what are you supposed to do? What are you actually supposed to do? Where does this go? Where does this end? Where does this begin? And if you are on the journey, and remember, this is specifically about mine. If your journey has easier obstacles to overcome, then more power to you. But you still had these thought processes, because that's how humanity works. Oh my god, I miss the Steve Harvey show so much. I told you so. Remember when they got robbed? Remember, she's like, "I'm your daughter." Ah, Steve, you know I wouldn't do that to you. And plus, the echo in here would be crazy if I did that. Like, look, I told you so. Oh man. Like Becker is still a good watch after all these years. And like I expected like some people like, oh, so you should have got a oh my god. I'm looking at this girl's snap right now. And she uploaded 107 snaps, which means she just filmed like these are them full snaps too. Just never stopped recording. And you know what's crazy is I brought up that girl in the movie. I brought up the girl from Snapchat. I brought up the girl from Snapchat because she was the one who offered me a job doing videography for a hospital, and I was like, "Yo, perfect, literal, like stream on the weekends, do this job, light work, light work." Said, "Bet got you. You've done all of this in this amount of time. Yeah, bet got you. Never heard back. Missed out on a job opportunity to do that for another for do that like you're not for real, right? Like you're not dead ass." And it I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know how these motherfuckers get away with shit. I don't know how people is comfortable. It's just like I had a lot of support in my corner and I literally tried to do what they wanted and it didn't work. They did what I wanted, didn't work. And I can't abandon this because like I've seen the impact on the students, but like then the education system gets in the way, and you gotta have standards, and you gotta teach them about like dumb shit that they don't care about, and if you try to make it fun, we'll fire you. Like shit, just not the way it used to be no more. And I hate sounding like an old nigga, like yelling at clouds, like, but that ass. Oh my god, ice cream garbage unless you buy the right brand. And not everybody's meant to be open like this, you know? So I can't expect to know what a new audience wants to connect to. Maybe I should drop the whole I know you, bro. Oh, shut the I wonder who the real villains are. And when you have to process trauma, does everybody turn into this? What about those who get that bread, that cheddar, that trust fund money? How do they cope and adapt with this? I want to know. I want to bring him on the podcast. I want to bring him on the podcast. I want to know what shifted their paradigm. WSUP 95.5 FM 97.2. Oh, we got the fire. We got the fire. Commercial ability and then trying to be yourself is a fucking nightmare. You know, my audience on my broadcast has been so used to like my sharp and shrill upper voice that when they eventually see this fucking podcast, if they ever do, they're gonna be like, yo, you didn't scream once. Why have you been screaming for 6 hours straight on the stream when you could have been doing this? And I'm like, because you can't get down and dirty if you're not yelling, because everybody loves a yelling black guy. Just look at I Show Speed. Just look at I Show Speed. Just look at I Show Speed. Just look at Cosnack. And then look at Destiny calling it, what is with this new age of black streamers that just yell all the time? Everybody says the consensus is this because the popular people say the consensus is this, and then nobody goes to look on their own to see if the consensus is actually true, and then the census just becomes true because people become pre downloaded with that preconceived notion, and all of a sudden now you're fighting a stereotype that you didn't even know existed by a person you didn't even know existed. Therefore, you have to figure out who that person is, why they said what they said, and see if you can find any deeper context to it. With the fact that live streaming eats up the most of the time of your life, you probably don't want to sit there after hours looking up something on the internet to find out why somebody sent hate your way. So you do it on stream, and then that stream gets watched by those people, and then that people clip that and send that to those people, and then it becomes a never-ending cycle that you can't get out of because there's not enough originality to clip anything out of that would cause anybody to feel a certain type of way. Origins. Origins, baby. I feel like I'm getting old. I don't. I feel like somehow I'm an OG. Maybe technology gave rise to quicker generations. Like there was the MySpace era kids, and then there was the MySpace after MySpace kids, and then there, I felt like I was the Facebook kid. I was the early Twitter kid. I was definitely a MySpace kid. I was even around for a little bit of Skonex before that shit died out. And then a lot of kids today, they don't got a neopets.com. They don't got a Club Penguin. They don't got a safe space on the internet, you know? They've just got YouTube. They've got YouTube kids and cool math games if that's already hasn't already been broken down due to Flash dying. Dog, I play a character on a show where I am infallible to anything and everyone. And I've made it so meta that like they don't even know when I make mistakes. They don't even know when I make mistakes. And as I peruse the land and see like what's there for me. I wonder maybe if the internet just slipped away from me. But like if I'm not sitting here talking, producing, then what am I doing? Browsing the internet and hoping that people will pay me to do that. I know a girl right now that will sit there and rebroadcast a song stream and has raked in money doing that. I know people that have copied Hassan's monikers. They'll end stream early. They stream early as fuck, and they'll end stream early just so they can watch him to know what they're gonna talk about the next day, recycling it and then advertising themselves as it. Crazy to me. And it's like I don't want to fucking care about other people in this goddamn place. I don't want to make moments that always like are just regurgitations of animosity and jealousy. But then I'm compared to those people, and like I want to focus on my music, but I can't because I got to stream. And I want to make films, but I can't because I got to stream. But if you don't stream, you don't make the money, and you don't got a job right now. So it's not like you can just offshoot that. But if you get a job, it's gonna ruin the time that you have to make anything. So you say, okay, do you got to do both? That's the only way it works. Turn your art, turn your passion, turn the shit that you want to do into the job, so that way you can do that because you would love to do that as the job. Who gives a fuck? You're not the pinpoint of success. But then it's like I watch those same people complain about those who are successful. I watch those same people wonder why the culture is the way that it is. Why, like, because a lot of these people out here don't know what it's like to be sexually assaulted. And I don't mean that like, oh, everybody should like have that happen to them. No, I mean like they don't have people close to them. They don't have empathy because they never had to have sympathy. They don't know the raw, visceral, actual feeling. They haven't experienced it to a closeness of a degree where it makes them twitch. And if they don't, and if they have, they don't mention it. It doesn't become a part of their makeup. It's not what's referenced every day. This has been an episode of the Paradigm Podcast, and we will hopefully pick this up in episode 2. Um, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to podcasts, this should be there. And I'll see y'all in the next one.